He's righteous. And this is why we're not going down a long list of righteousness and justice and all this, because it all falls under the umbrella of His holiness. His holiness is what makes Him utterly unique. He's set apart as uncreated. He's set apart as righteous. He's set apart as what? Just. He's set apart as what else?
He's perfect.
Perfect.
Merciful.
Perfect. He's merciful. We can literally go on and on with that, describing the things that God is, but we're not. The one I want to pick on, though, is He's set apart unto perfection, because perfection really captures the essence of who God really is. When we talk about God's perfection, we can say He's perfect because what does that imply? It implies that He cannot change for the better, because to be able to do that would make Him what? Imperfect, or less. He cannot change for the worse, because what would that imply? The same thing.
Yes.
The same thing. He cannot change, therefore He is perfect. And it's all under the banner of this holiness, which sets Him apart as the only being in all of the realms. I would say universe, but I think God's bigger than that even. But He's the only one who enjoys that distinction. Now what about us when we're called holy? Be ye holy, for I am holy.
We're set apart in Christ, not in our own.
Exactly. And we'll talk about that when we talk about the communicable attributes. Because holiness is also one of His communicable attributes in a limited sense. And so we'll talk about that when we get there as well. When we talk about God's holiness, many theologians refer to His holiness as being transcendent. That's a good word too. Transcendent. That means He's high above everything else. Above the fray, so to speak. Above and beyond. God is absolutely distinct from His creation and is exalted above Him. Some scripture passages for you to look at. Exodus 15:11. Isaiah 57:15. Note the words high and exalted and high and holy place there. Leviticus 11:44 and 45. And Psalm 11:4 through 6. Psalm 11:4 through 6. Now the final thing I want to look at is His infinity. What do we mean by that?
Forever?
Okay, forever. What's the mathematical sign for infinity?
Upside down
Sideways eight.
Sideways eight,
Why is that the mathematical sign for infinity?
It goes on forever.
Because it never ends. It never ends. How many of you have ever made a Mobius strip before? You ever made a Mobius strip?
Sure.
The idea of a circle being never ending. You can make a Mobius strip. You take a strip of paper about this long and you kind of twist it a half turn and you paste the ends together. And then you cut it down the middle. And what do you get? 2 interlocking Mobius strips. You cut the other one down the middle, what do you get? 3 interlocking or 4 interlocking Mobius strips. And it goes on forever. That's a little demonstration to show you the concept of infinity. And so, when we talk about God's being infinite, what do we mean? That He goes on forever. What else does that mean, though?
He has been forever.
He has been forever. So you combine His infinity with His eternity, and you've got a pretty formidable God there. God who's always existed and always will exist. He's eternal. He's not limited or bound in any way by time. He's immense. He's immense. That is, He's not bound by time or space. Something else for you to chew on. Something else to kind of blow your mind. When we talk about the world in which we live, we are able to reference that world on the basis of 3 dimensions. Right? What are those 3 dimensions? Height, width,
depth.
and depth. 3 dimensions. We're 3-dimensional characters. We see everything in 3 dimensions. That's the limit of our visibility. Everything is in 3 dimensions. God, on the other hand, exists outside of this. Outside of the 3 dimensions. Outside of space and time. Time and space mean nothing to God. This lends credence to what we were saying about His omniscience. This lends credence to what we were saying about decision points. God exists outside of space and time. Space and time were created for our benefit. Space and time were created so that we would have some measure as to where we are and how long we've been here and how long we have to go. That's what space and time are for. In the mind of God, those are His grand accommodations to His creation to help us find our way in life. He, on the other hand, is infinite. He exists outside of time and space. You've probably seen, many of you in math, you see the Venn diagrams, right? You've got the universal set, and you've got A and B. And in here are all the people who are of the A variety, and here's all the people of the B variety, and what's this in the middle? All the AB people. Right?
Yeah.
Remember math, right?
Yep.
Here's your universal set. This is everything else. Well, God exists even outside of all that. He transcends it all. That's why we can say that God exists in an eternal now. Solomon built a temple to the Lord. And what was the first thing he realized about that temple when he completed it?
The heaven of heavens cannot contain you.
Even the heavens can't contain Him. He said that under inspiration, by the way. And what does that tell us about how immense our God really is? We all saw that thing with Louis Giglio on it. What was it called? Indescribable. That video we showed that one Wednesday night where it showed the Earth and you back out from the Earth and you realize that the nearest star, Alpha Centauri, is some 14 million light years away, and that means it takes 14 million years for light to reach the Earth, and that's within our own neighborhood. And then you go back out further and further and further, and before you know it, you're so far away that it's just ridiculous to even think about it. Well, guess who's over all that? Our God.
Augustine talks about how we stumble over numbers. We can't possibly see the highest number, and yet to God that's nothing. He doesn't struggle with that at all like we do.
Right. Well, numbers themselves are an accommodation to us. Numbers are meaningless to God. They're meaningless to God because numbers imply time and space. Why would you number things? You number things to find out where they are in time and space. God doesn't number things. To God, everything's in the eternal now. Something very interesting about Ephesians. When Paul writes to the Ephesians, he tells them that they've been blessed with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly places. He doesn't say you will be blessed with every spiritual blessing in the heavenly places. Why? Because under inspiration, he wanted it made known that your salvation is as complete now as it will ever be in the mind of God. We read in Romans 8, where those He foreknew, He predestined. Those He predestined, He called. Those He called, He justified. Those He justified, He sanctified. Those He sanctified, He will glorify. He glorified them. Boom, done deal. And so, we need to really get out of our three-dimensional box here and let God be God. These are His incommunicable attributes. These are those things He cannot share with us because we are finite, we are creatures of His making, and God will not share those parts of Himself that make Him God with any of us. And I'm thankful that He's God. And I'm not. I'm thankful that He's all-powerful and I'm not. I'm thankful that He knows everything and I don't. I'm thankful that He's infinite and I'm finite. Because the very fact that I'm finite means that one day I'll be infinite as well. And enjoy His presence forever. And that, doesn't get any better than that. I don't want a God who lives in a box. I want a God who is transcendent over all of that. So, anybody have any questions?
Impeccability, you said no sin, could it also mean no error?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you can't make a mistake.
Yep. Yeah, the no error thing would fit both in impeccability and in immutability. Because to make a mistake would mean you have to correct it, which implies change. So, Anybody else? No? Well, thank you for coming.